All right. Hello, everybody. Good evening. My name is Maria. Thank you so much for joining me and my guest this evening. We are going to talk about what you can expect when relocating from wherever in the world you are to our campus in the Caribbean. So I want to go ahead and get started by introducing myself officially, giving you my telephone number and my email address. Please take a photo of that. And if you have any questions at any point, tomorrow, over the weekend, whenever, feel free to contact me. I'm more than happy to help. So if you are watching live right now, go ahead and drop in the comment section where in the world you are. Let us know what city, what state, what country. I know we have people from all over the world watching, so don't be shy and let us know. I am in Chicago. And yes, it's cold. So welcome again. I'm very happy to have you here. We're going to go over some very important information. At the end, if you have any questions, feel free to either drop them in the comments at that point, or even throughout the entire webinar, your questions will be answered. So welcome again. All right, so we're going to talk about the American Canadian School of Medicine. We are the only nonprofit medical university in the Caribbean. We do have a very clear mission and vision, and our approach is very different from what you may have encountered previously from medical schools in the Caribbean. First of all, your education is our main priority, and I know you probably hear that a lot, right? But when we say it, we really mean it. For example, classroom sizes are a max of 10 students to one professor. All of them. Some of them are usually smaller. You'll break down into smaller groups, but you're never going to have a class like perhaps you may have had at your university or other medical schools have, for example, where there's 300, 400, 500 people in a lecture hall or in a class. We really believe that it's easy to lose the student that way. And in order to have a higher quality of education, we really will keep the 10-to-1 student ratio to ensure that quality. Okay, so I'm seeing in the comments section, we have somebody from Virginia Beach. Welcome, welcome. Somebody from New Jersey. Welcome, Jersey, Northern California. All right, so again, we're all over. So don't be shy. Drop in the city where you are. Let us know. That's part of the fun part, right? You are part of this webinar. And again, it's interactive. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Okay, so in addition to the small classroom sizes, all of our professors are actual physicians. They're clinicians. That means that they are able to teach you from actual experience. They're not PhDs. Some other schools may have had veterinarians teaching some of the classes because biology, right? But it's not the same. So with us, again, the quality is extremely important, and all of our professors are physicians, they're clinicians, and that's going to allow you to have very early clinical exposure. We also have a very important social mission on the island of Dominica. So the clinical exposure will extend to the community on the island. We assist as much as possible. We educate as much as possible when we can. We work with the indigenous population, the Kalinago. So, with us, not only are you learning, but you're also gaining very important global experience, and you're exposed to different types of communities, not only culturally, but also socioeconomic. And of course, that's the kind of experience you want to have. So when you're a practicing physician yourself, very, very soon, you will be able to relate to all of your patients. All right, so moving along. So let's talk a little bit about our school in general. We are, as I've mentioned, in the Caribbean. This is a quick photo of what our campus looks like. As you can see, it is actually on the beach. We do have our own private beach. You're going to be too busy with classroom to enjoy that beach most of the time, but the setting is beautiful. It is one of the most well-protected islands. It's not your typical very touristy island. We do focus on preserving the ecology of the island, and it's called a nature island, actually. They say that if Christopher Columbus came back, this would be the only island he would recognize because it's been preserved so well. And it has also been considered one of the top 10 places to visit by National Geographic. So again, one of the most beautiful islands there. Okay, so of course, when it comes to setting the standard, one of the basic things you need to research when you're looking at medical schools is their accreditation. That is how you can determine that the standard is being kept and maintained. The accreditation is going to be very important in determining whether you can do clinical rotations back in the US or Canada, if you can do your residency. So the school that you go to has to have the accurate and appropriate accreditation, which we do, of course. You can look it up. The World Federation of Medical Education, the WFME, is extremely important. So obviously, I can't stress enough, make sure that when you're doing your research, make sure they have the accurate and necessary accreditation. Not all accreditations are equal. So we do provide you with the accreditation necessary to get through the trajectory of being a medical student and eventually a practicing physician. All right, let's move on. So we're going to talk a little bit about life on campus. I'm not going to go into too much information or detail here because our guest tonight is a current student. So I want you to hear from her specifically what her experience is like. Okay, so again, another shot of our beautiful campus. It is state of the art. We have an incredible anatomy lab. It is also one of the buildings that is the safest on the island should there be a storm or a hurricane, because it is the Caribbean. But we have a generator and we have a backup generator for our generators. So we are definitely set. Okay, so I want to go ahead and introduce Benny Gregg. Hi, Benny. How are you today?
Hi, Maria. I'm doing really well. How are you?
Great. Thank you so much for joining us once again. Benny is a current student. She graduated from the University of Toronto in Canada. So moving from Canada to the Caribbean, as we can all imagine, would be quite a transition. So Benny, thank you again for joining us. You're going to tell us a little bit about your experience, the transition, what it's like to live in Dominica. So take it away.
Sure. So yes, I did move from Toronto over to Dominica. The first thing you probably notice is like the weather is quite different. It's so much warmer here, but it's not too drastic for me just because I've grown up in other parts of the world. I was raised in like the Middle East and Thailand, so the hot weather isn't too much of a bother. When you do come, make sure that you're bringing really light clothing, but in addition to that, bring lots of sweaters because campus is freezing for the most part. In terms of what I would recommend to someone who's like maybe coming from Canada, coming from North America, I'd say be prepared to bring everything that you might think that you'll need on the island. But then in addition to that, also make sure that you're prepared for your first semester in general. You want to make sure that you don't have any hiccups, that you are brushed up on all your pre-medical knowledge, because the first 3 modules really have no breaks in between, like they're intense. But it's worth it. And the past 4 months have passed by really fast for me.
Okay, and tell us a little bit more about preparing for the modules. How do you suggest they do that? Are there websites or any? How would you have done it?
How I would have probably done it is I would have gotten my step book early. So I got my step book maybe 2 months into being on the island, and I do wish that I came here with it. So like as I'm talking to you guys, I do have it like right in the background here. I've been using it to study for the module exam that I have in like a week. And if you have it alongside you, just writing all your notes in there, I think that's super helpful. It keeps you oriented throughout the module. Of course, the teachers do a great job of like structuring how we're going to be going through each module, but having that step book in the background makes you aware of what you've covered and what you haven't, and that makes you better prepared for obviously the step 1 test that you're going to be taking in 2 years, right?
Okay, and what semester are you in?
So I'm in my first semester. I'm wrapping it up.
Okay.
In my 3rd module.
Congratulations. Very
Thank
exciting.
you.
Tell us a little bit about your typical week.
Oh, okay. So each module will be a little different, but for the most part, you're getting up around 7. Classes start at 8. Your first morning class ends around, I'd say 9:10, 9:15. You have like a little bit of a break, and then you can go into your small group. Your small group will vary in size. So, for example, for right now, my small group is around 11 students. Um, and we discuss in detail every single topic that is brought up on the schedule, right? The conversations are really lively. I enjoy them a lot. And unfortunately, it only goes on for like 2.5 hours. Most of us wish that we could have like extended it because there's just so much content to cover. But after that, you have lunch. That's like for roughly an hour, and then you have your evening classes or your afternoon classes. So that's it'll alternate between like anatomy or ICM, and it's looking at like 2 hours for either class.
Okay.
The reason why I say that it varies from module to module is because for this module, for example, there's a little more, like your days are a little bit fuller, just because the anatomy is so much more extensive than the other modules that you're dealing with. But yeah,
Okay.
some days can be a little longer than others.
Great feedback. Thank you. Tell me a little bit about what has surprised you the most from moving to the Caribbean and Dominica specifically.
How beautiful the country is. It's so gorgeous. I've never been here prior to, so I was a little surprised. Uh, yeah, no, it's absolutely stunning here. And there's so much to do, like whale watching and so many extracurricular activities outside of the classroom. So if you have the opportunity on a weekend when you're not studying, fully use it. It's definitely worth your time.
Yeah, it's one of the only countries in the world where the whales don't migrate. They're there all year round.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Who could blame them, right? Who would want to leave?
It's so beautiful. It's so tranquil. And there's just not too much activity in the waters too. I think is why like they just appreciate being there.
So, what have you done? Because obviously, you just said you're a very busy student, which is
Mhm.
expected from medical school, right?
Yeah.
But what have you had the opportunity to do on the island or to go see?
So I've done the whale watching and the dolphin watching. I've done a little bit of hiking. We went to Trafalgar Falls, and that was a gorgeous sight. There's the um, sulfur springs, I think is what they call them.
Mhm.
That was like a nice experience as well. We have the school has a wonderful gym, wonderful pool, and access to the beach. When you guys get here, you'll definitely appreciate the sunsets from where the gym area is.
Great. And so, as far as balancing your academics with your health, with your wellness, in addition to all the fun touristy things of exploring the island, what are you doing on a personal level? Are you going to the gym, or what activities are you doing to maintain that balance?
Yeah, the gym is like three nights a week. Right now, it's 3 nights a week. Um, but when I could, it was like every other night. Right?
Okay. And you're going to the gym at IHG?
Yeah, at IHG. It's a really nice gym.
Okay. And
Um,
tell us about IHG because I'm sure nobody knows.
sure, absolutely. So you have access to it from like 6 a.m. If you can get the buses going, and then they end at like I think it's now changed to 11 p.m. Um, let me see. You have access to the pools there. They're large enough that you can get a few laps in. There's also like a nearby beach. But as for the gym itself, I mean, plenty of equipment there, plenty of treadmills if you prefer to just do like cardio. Uh, the weight rack. Yeah, no, it's gorgeous. If you guys have access to the pictures, I would just take a look and appreciate it. There's also like a spa like adjacent to the gym. So if you have the time, go use that after each module exam. I've been doing it with a few girlfriends at class, and we've made it a little bit of a tradition now.
Nice. I mean, it makes me feel like signing up to become a medical student. That's amazing. Okay, very good. So let's talk a little bit about more regarding what to expect. Tell us a little bit about the apartment, adjusting to your apartment, what you suggest they keep in consideration or in mind when thinking specifically about transitioning to their own apartment?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. It's actually a question that I was discussing with my cohort earlier this week. We're like, what should we recommend to the new group of students so that they come prepared? Um, just starting, I'm trying to orient myself in my apartment right now, but for the kitchen area, all my classmates have agreed bring a really good knife set. That obviously, like your apartment is going to come fully furnished, but there are just some things that elevate the living experience that just make it that much easier. So a really good knife set is absolutely key. Don't worry about bringing cutlery, plates, whatever. Like it comes with the unit. Um, in terms of the bedroom, we all agree that you should bring a mattress topper and a really, really good pillow. One that you like, one that you appreciate if you're a side sleeper or whatever. Bring your own sheet set just so you're a little more comfortable. What else? I have a few notes. Just give me 1 second.
It sounds like you have a supportive community there.
Yeah, we're all like super, super close.
Oh,
Um,
that's amazing.
the group chat is very lively, essentially at all hours of the day.
That's
But
great, though. I mean, it's such a unique experience. And obviously, again, medical school is so challenging that I think it really enhances your experience of being a medical student when you have people around you that you trust, that you value, that you can relate to. So it sounds like, you have a good group of people around you.
yeah, really lucky with this cohort. Everyone's just sweethearts. Um,
Okay. Very good. And we did just put up on the screen a little bit more information on IHG. Click on that link and take a look. You're going to be stunned by how beautiful this resort is. And as she said, there's transportation to and from the resort on a regular basis, and there's no additional fees to our students. So take a look and see. Okay, and Benny, tell us a little bit about the accessibility to your professors, for example. How available are they? What is that relationship like?
they're essentially almost always available within reasonable hours. So you are able to ask them for extra tutoring lessons if necessary, if there's something that you didn't understand in the small group. So, for example, like I said earlier, sometimes you kind of wish that the session went on longer because there's so much depth that you can have with the material. It's nice to be able to talk to them one-on-one and schedule time with them, say in the library in one of like our private study group rooms, and just go over anything that you feel like you didn't fully understand, or if you want to practice some more like UWorld questions or Luxuria questions, they're more than happy to help.
Okay, great.
They've been like a huge help, not just for like myself, but my classmates, and we've especially used them for the second module this semester, which was attack and defense. Yeah, make sure to do lots of prep work for that one.
Okay. And what study strategies are you finding the most successful or the most useful?
Oh, good question. So I combine a lot of different resources, but I think I've narrowed it down within the last semester. I used to use like everything that was provided initially, and now I use Physio on YouTube to supplement the step book that I'm using. The school offers Luxuria, which gives great questions and even better explanations for why you got something right or wrong. In addition to that, we also have Amboss. Amboss is pretty solid. I do appreciate it for just asking more simpler questions and getting straight to the point. We also have TrueLearn, which in my opinion is one of the hardest testing programs that I've experienced yet. But at the same time, their explanations are top tier. They've done a really good job of um, explaining pathophysiology for a lot of the concepts that we have to cover in step one.
Okay, very good. And you mentioned step one. So the study for step one is integrated into the curriculum. Are you finding that that is useful and beneficial? It's not typical. Most medical schools don't do it this way, so it is unique to us. But how are you finding it?
I like it in the sense that it tests exactly what I'm learning. Plus, the teachers also give you some additional questions to really um, keep you sharp. but I do like it. I do appreciate it.
Okay, perfect. It'll be much better than having to cram right at the last
Exactly.
minute. And when you cram, you just forget it. The second you complete your exam, all that information just dissipates. So again, I can't stress enough how, the quality of the education is important to us. So I'm glad that, studying for the USMLE from semester one is something that you also see the value in. Great. So tell us a little bit about how you're staying in contact or connected with your family, your loved ones, your friends.
Oh, okay, so I actually call my parents every night. Um, it's just like usual in our family. Sorry, just a little drink of water.
Yeah, no, take your time. Yeah, and the reason I bring it up is again, you're traveling from anywhere in the world to the Caribbean where most people may not have visited before. It might be the first time that a lot of people have lived away from home, away from their families, and that can be a little scary too, a little intimidating. So you talk to your family daily, which is great. Tell us more.
If not my parents, then I'm always calling like my little brother or something, right? I do have a partner that visits me every 2 months.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
Yeah. So um, it's been nice for like friends and family to like fly in and come and visit you. I think great.
That's
It's nice.
great.
Um, definitely makes you feel not as isolated.
Right, right, exactly. And that's important that you have that support. So that's great. And even for those that, may not have that type of family support or structure, or they just don't have the ability to visit them in Dominica. Like you mentioned, the student network is usually very intimate, very tight. Professors are available. So we try to do everything possible to make sure that you don't feel isolated and lonely, and that you are feeling well in all aspects so you can focus on your academics. All right, so tell us a little bit about, I know we have at least two active student organizations. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
We do. So we have the SGA, which is the Student Governing Association. Um, you actually see the president in the picture here. She's right in the middle. That's Fatima. She does a great job of organizing events like on campus. Um, and then in addition to that, we also have the internal medicine group. We've been having a really strong semester, and like we have monthly meetings and where we go over cases. We bring in guest lecturers, guest speakers. We even bring in our own faculty to discuss like really hard case studies. But in addition to that, for next semester, I've been part of the OBGYN interest group, along with another student by the name of Matt and Maheen, and we're really looking forward to bringing a third group to campus. And in terms of interested in creating a new group, the SGBA will tell you that after your first semester, you can then initiate an interest group on campus.
That's great. So tell us a little bit more about the OBGYN group.
It's still in the works, um, but you are looking at the treasurer and secretary.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you. But we're looking into creating like suturing classes. We're bringing in some maternal and fetal models so that we can practice just some different procedures, and I think it'll be a worthwhile experience.
That's
We're still
amazing.
getting approval for some things and adjusting the budget slightly, but yeah,
That's
it's
incredible. That's
yeah.
great. I'm very excited to hear that. Congratulations once again. So tell us what you would tell somebody watching in our audience that, who knows where in the world they are or where in their application process they are. Perhaps they haven't applied, they're considering it, they're trepidatious, exactly where you were several months ago. What words of advice would you give them?
I would say know what motivates you. When you're coming to the island and going to study medicine, you really, really have to be determined. You have to know what drives you. And you need to know how you study and be pragmatic about it. You don't want to burn out too quickly in the semester because it is intense. So yeah, be realistic about those goals. And I mean, obviously, you know, when you're applying, medicine is not a light topic, right? Um, Keep those goals at the back of your mind always, and yeah, just come prepared, come open, come willing to learn.
Great. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Benny. We really appreciate your time. I know you're also studying, so thanks for giving us a little bit of your time. I'm going to go ahead and go over a little bit of information regarding admissions, and then we'll bring you on in case there's any remaining questions. Okay?
Sounds good.
Thank you. All right, my friends. So once again, this is my information. Feel free to take a photo. I know that in addition to having people watch this webinar live, this webinar will be posted on our YouTube page, our social media. So if you haven't had an opportunity to join us live, you can always watch it at any point, and you can also share it with your friends, your advisors. And as I mentioned, this is my information. You can always contact me at any point with any questions. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about the admissions process and the criteria. We do encourage you to apply, and just so you know, there is no application fee. Again, we are a nonprofit and we value the quality of your education over making a profit. So there is no fee at all for the application itself. In order to apply, you will need a bachelor's degree or higher, or something equivalent if you're coming from a different area of the world. Within that bachelor's, the course requirements are core science classes. So 2 semesters of biology, 2 semesters of chemistry, 1 semester of organic chemistry, math or biostatistics, and 1 semester of physics. If you have a different class that you may not be so sure whether it would qualify, don't make that assessment yourself. Submit your application, and then an admissions advisor or the admissions committee will be able to determine that by looking at your transcripts. So don't rule yourself out. Submit your application and we'll make that determination. So obviously we will need your transcripts. In order to apply, it will be fine to apply with your unofficial transcripts, but have the transcripts for all the schools that you have attended from high school onwards. So we don't need your high school transcripts, but any college, associates, bachelor's, master's, anything along those lines. If you're a career changer, it doesn't matter what your degrees are in, we'll need those transcripts as well. Additionally, you're going to need 2 letters of recommendation, academic letters. If you have been out of school for some time, again, career changers, we would take 1 professional, and, let us know if you have a certain, circumstance that, might be unique or different, and we can talk about it. But generally, we do require 2 letters of recommendation that are academic. Additionally, you're going to need a personal statement, which I want to stress is a very important component of the admissions process. This is your opportunity to not be shy. Don't be humble. Tell us all the amazing things you have done. Tell us about your motivation, your focus. If there have been hiccups along the way, let us know about those. Let us know about the challenges you've had, how you've persevered, how you've overcome. We don't expect you to have a perfect 4.0. We understand that life happens. Maybe you had a challenging semester. Maybe you're working full time and going to school full time. So there's lots of different circumstances, and we have a very organic approach, a very holistic approach to our admissions process. We don't just look at you and see your GPA and your MCAT score. We look at the entire person, all of your experience, and everything that you have gone through to get to this point. So additionally, you're going to need your resume, your CV. Make sure that it is updated to make sure that it's accurate. I mentioned the MCAT. The MCAT is required. There are certain circumstances where waivers may be possible. So again, don't rule yourself out if you don't have an MCAT yet, or if perhaps you think your MCAT score is not as high as you would like for it to be. Again, don't rule yourself out. Submit your application. Let us look at your score. It doesn't matter if you've taken it 2 or 3 times. Again, if you've had a challenge and you've persevered and overcome, these are the things we want to see. So MCAT is something that gives us a little bit of insight, but if you have strenuous circumstances, you may be able to have a waiver. And then after we have reviewed all of those components, you will have an interview with the admissions committee. This is usually about an hour, and it is another opportunity, for example, along the lines of the personal statement, where you can tell them all the things you've done, all the things you've accomplished, or any challenges you've overcome. They will have questions as well. Some of those questions you cannot prepare for. They're behavioral questions. So just be prepared to be yourself. Be in a place that's quiet and has no distractions, so just be yourself is the best advice. The admissions process usually can be expedited. So, for example, if you are considering applying and you would like to apply for January, you still have time. We would be able to expedite your application. So please submit your application tonight or very, very soon, but it is a possibility. So classes begin January 20th officially, but there's orientation and white coat. So, you still have a few weeks and we can make it happen if you have all the factors that are necessary, your transcripts, your letters of recommendation. Submit your application. Let's go ahead and get you started if you're thinking about starting in January. Again, it can happen. We can make this happen. Okay, so, and there's the link to the application too, by the way. That will take you to the free application and you can go ahead and apply. If you apply today or in the next few days, drop me a text and let me know, hey, Maria, guess what? I just applied. That would make me very happy and I would love to connect with you as well. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about tuition. Tuition is $50,000 per year, so it's $25,000 per semesters for year 1 and year 2. Year 3 and year 4 are each $57,000 per semester, and there's 2 semesters a year for every year. If you are in Canada, we have actually made the tuition on par with the Canadian dollar, so you're not paying more. I know Canadians usually get stuck with that, but you won't. It is exactly the same. So Canadian dollar, US dollar, exactly on par. I do also want to mention that in addition to our MD program, we do have another pathway. It's called the PrEP program. And this pathway is basically for those who are changing careers or maybe don't have the MCAT or have an MCAT score that is maybe, again, not quite where you want it to be for whatever reasons. If you are not ready just yet to go directly into the MD program, you wouldn't necessarily make that determination. The admissions committee would, and again, depending on your application. But basically, it is a great opportunity for the folks that I have described: career changers, MCAT, no MCAT. If you are accepted to the PrEP program, Prep for Success, it is 1 semester on campus. It is essentially semester 1 of medical school, but it's decelerated. So it's slower, it's easier to digest, and basically it allows us to not only give you a very solid preparation for when you do start semester 1, but it also allows us to see that, yes, you do have the capabilities of, managing at this level the academics. So once you complete the program successfully, again, it's 19 weeks, it's only 1 semester, then you are automatically accepted into the MD program. So that's amazing. So you're automatically accepted if you complete the program successfully. And in addition to that, you're also given a $15,000 scholarship. So lots of advantages there. So you have the MD program directly, or the other pathway is Prep for Success. But this is tuition for the MD program. The tuition for the Prep for Success is $1,000 for the entire semester. And you do get that returned to you at the completion of that semester. You are, however, responsible for your housing, living, things of that nature. So we also have a fantastic financial aid officer. Her name is Jane, and she is not only very knowledgeable, but she's also extremely helpful. And she's always going to be available to answer any questions you have. So we don't want any student to not apply or not attend medical school because of finances. So we're going to do everything we possibly can to make it accessible, to make it happen, and make it feasible for you so that you can become a physician and accomplish that life goal. So there is the link to the financial aid information. Again, our officer is named Jane. She's fabulous, and she will be very happy to work with you. So having talked about tuition, we also want to talk about additional costs and fees involved. These are general costs, and these are estimates. So they're not exact numbers, obviously, but we want you to have an idea of what to expect. And so this will be years 1 and 2, and then years 3 and 4, which are not on the island. Years 1 and 2 are in Dominica. That's 4 semesters. At the completion of those 4 semesters, you're going to return to the United States, do your rotations, do your residency, and that is years 3 and 4 and beyond. But as far as the 4 years that encompass medical school, these are some of the fees you're going to look at. Living expenses, flights. We've estimated 2 flights, miscellaneous expenses. You're also going to need health insurance. So to give you an idea, again, this is what you can expect, ballpark figure. And again, Jane is going to be happy to chat with you to discuss the managing these fees, basically. And again, in addition to tuition having the ability to be covered by the loans, we also have several amazing scholarships available depending not just on your GPA, but also on community service, military service. So we do have lots of scholarships. A large percentage of our students receive scholarships. Again, we're nonprofits, so our priority is your education and not making that profit. So do not hesitate to submit that application if you're concerned about the cost. We can, discuss it further in detail. There's lots of assistance regarding that. So finally, I want to give you the QR code to our application. I know the link is in the comments section, but if you grab your phone, you can take a photo and it'll take you directly to the application itself. Once again, there is no fee whatsoever. And the only thing you need at this point are your unofficial transcripts. So I'm going to bring Benny back. Benny, there you are.
Hi.
All right. Thanks again for joining us. Can't stress that enough, how grateful we are. So I know we have a question, and this one I can answer. It's about rotations. Do students choose themselves where to go, or are they assigned by the school? That's a great question. So you do have some say regarding the area. Right now, our main focus is in the California area, the Los Angeles area. We do have several options there. I can email you additional information. This is Manuel. Hello, Manuel. So, I can answer any questions you have pertaining to that, give you the names of the actual places if you like, or talk about the actual rotations. But just to give you an idea, California is pretty much right now one of the main focus. Hi, Manuel. All right. Any questions for Benny? If not, I do have some questions. Or have you thought of anything else you wanted to add or say?
I mean, it's more just things that you can pack and bring with you.
Okay,
Uh,
tell us about that.
okay. Uh, like we have a little group chat going, and the classmates have been contributing. So I figured I
Great.
might as well let you guys know. So in addition, step book was like by far like on my list, but other students have mentioned bring an air fryer. Yes, there's like a stove, there's an
An
oven.
air fryer. I
An air
love that.
fryer
That's
is okay.
brilliant.
Yeah. Make sure to read your pre-departure orientation checklist really closely. A lot of students brought like their own scrubs or whatever, but just pay attention to like the school colors are red and black, so bring red and black, and bring enough sets because we do have a lot of like like clinical days and where we're just practicing examinations, and you have to be dressed appropriately for that. Some other things that we have listed in the group chat, it says sweaters, bring enough gym sets. The gym is gorgeous, like I said, so just bring enough sets so that you can enjoy it regularly throughout the week.
Bring your bathing suit.
Oh yeah, bring your bathing suit, bring tons of bathing suits.
Great. How about food? Any suggestions regarding food?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on your taste, right? So I'm half Thai and I really enjoy Thai food. So I would recommend maybe, like, if you prefer certain spices, bring them with you. You can find some here, they just don't quite taste how you remember them back home. So, for example, like Chinese five spice, you can find it here. It just has a different blend. Um, like sauces and stuff, if you want to bring it, you can. It might be a little heavy, so maybe pack 2-3 suitcases. No student has said that they've overpacked, if that makes sense. Bring everything.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you, Benny. And you can tell your classmates we say thank you for contributing to the conversation as well. That's fabulous. So if there are additional questions that come in, again, this is recorded as well. So lots of people will be watching it at a later time over the weekend. So if we have any questions, can I send them your way?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'll be free.
Sounds great, Benny. Thanks again. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for watching and joining us this evening. I want to go ahead and put that QR code back on the screen. If you're ready to apply, submit that application. We can definitely get you in, possibly get you into the January class as long as you have everything that's necessary. We can try to expedite your application. There's still a little bit of room left. So let's make that happen. If not, the July class is also coming up. If you're graduating in May and you want to apply for July, submit your application now for that as well. Thank you so much, everybody. It's been a pleasure. Once again, my name is Maria, and do not hesitate to contact me with any additional questions. Best of luck. We hope to see you on campus. Take care.